this is Mary Berger from Computer Diva headquarters. Today I want to talk about Windows XP. We all know Windows XP is a really old operating system. To kind of put things into perspective for you, Windows XP was released in 2001 and it had a end of shelf life of 2014, and that means that's the date when Microsoft stopped supporting the software. What that means is they would no longer give phone support, nor would they release any more security updates for it. So 2014, it was actually April of 2014 that it stopped being supported. So what happens when they stop supporting this software is the organized crime people of the world who create the viruses, they take a look at all the patches that Microsoft is releasing for other versions of Windows, meaning Vista, Windows 7, and Windows 8. And it's the same fixes across all platforms, across all versions. So the hackers of the world, they design viruses that attack vulnerabilities in what Microsoft is fixing for these other platforms, and they target them for Windows XP computers. So if you have a Windows XP computer, it is highly vulnerable to receiving viruses. So I want to tell you a story, something that happened to me a couple of weeks ago. I have a client who has a Windows XP computer, and he uses it to run his business. And I've been recommending to him for a couple of years now that he replace that computer with something new, something more safe in regards to viruses. He decided not to. So a couple of weeks ago, he called me and he said, Mary, I have what I think is a virus on my computer. There's all sorts of pop-up windows. So I went out there, I cleaned up the computer, and by the time I was finished with it, it took me about an hour and a half, but there was no trace, no sign of viruses whatsoever. And I told him at the time, I said, you know, you're still running this Windows XP computer. It is going to get another virus. It's only a matter of time, and you really need to consider replacing it. He didn't want to hear it. So the next morning, I got a call from the same client saying that the pop-ups were back. So I asked them to describe one of the pop-up windows to me. And they described it as the wording at the top being your computer, let's see, your data has been encrypted and we are holding your computer for ransom. Zing, instantly in my mind, I thought CryptoLocker virus. So I told the client, the CryptoLocker virus was not on your computer yesterday. This is not one of the viruses I cleaned up. Well, you know, in the mind of the customer, I was out there the day before, cleaned up all the viruses, and the next day they have another virus. You know, the customer doesn't understand the difference between the types of viruses, the different varieties. And it all points back at me that, you know, Computer Diva was in their office the previous day, cleaning up the viruses, and the next day the viruses are back. So because of this, well, let me say this. The reason he got this virus the next day is because of Windows XP. His computer is highly vulnerable. So because of this, and now that the client is a little upset with me, and I'm just going to be honest with that. The client is a little upset with me, but I know in my heart it was not my issue. And what I should have said to him the first day I was there was, you've got a Windows XP computer, it's full of viruses. I cannot work on this. You need to replace it. I need to take a stand. I needed to take a stand that day, and I didn't. And I'm kind of paying for it now. So I'm taking that stand now. And I'm letting you all know that if you have a Windows XP computer, if you get a virus, the best thing that you can do is replace that computer. I will not clean up viruses on Windows XP computers anymore because there's no guarantee that the virus won't come back the next day. They are that vulnerable. So with that said, let's talk a little bit about other versions of Windows and the end of shelf life. So Windows Vista is the next operating system level up from Windows XP. It was released in 2006. It expires in 2017, 2 years from now. I know a lot of you out there who have Windows Vista computers, and I'm just telling you right now, you have 2 years in which to get rid of those computers. You have 2 years to plan for a replacement. You have 2 years to make sure your data is backed up, and that you've replaced that computer and you've gotten rid of the Vista operating system. So 2 years, we're going to have this same conversation about Windows Vista, and at that point in time, I'm going to take a stand. As soon as Vista expires, I will no longer work on those computers. I kind of hate to be a little hard-nosed about that, but the reputation of my business is at stake. And if a client decides not to listen to me and they decide to kind of take that chance and use an expired operating system, I can't be held accountable if they continue to get viruses. So I've made that decision. Computer Diva will no longer work on an expired operating system. So with that said, we all know Vista 2017. Windows 7 will expire in 2020. Windows 8 will expire in 2023. Windows 10 has not been released yet, so we don't know what the expiration date is. I would have to guess it's going to be 2026. Windows 10 will come out this fall. So with that said, if any of you have a Windows XP computer and you need help replacing it, please let me know. I'm more than happy to help you shop for a new computer, get the new computer set up, get the data off of Windows XP, and get you up and running on the new computer. But I will not work on your Windows XP computers anymore. So that's it. You know, like I said, I kind of hate to be hard-nosed about this, but, you know, I have to do it. I have to do it for the safety of my business, and I really urge all of you, if you are running Windows XP, to replace that computer. So that's about it for this video. So thank you so much for listening. You know where to reach me. My contact info will be below, and have a fabulous day.